Welcome back to the Barrel Talk Podcast. We are back with another episode, joined with Stoll here. This is going to be part two to the part one. Video's already out about our Western Conference predictions. The Eastern Conference is all set for playoff time. We can start out with the Eastern Conference play-in.
Yep.
We start out at 7-8, Sixers, Magic. How are we feeling?
Not good, Corey. Not feeling good about this one because Embiid, of course, had appendicitis now. I swear, they find new ways to disappoint me and let me down.
Is there a timetable for that at all?
I mean, OG and Anobi missed like an entire month when he was dealing with, I think he had an appendectomy, which is what the surgery that Embiid had. So they removed his appendix. My guess is a 2 to 3 week thing. He probably misses this game. Even if he were to come back, he probably wouldn't be in good shape. It would probably be in a decent amount of pain. And so I don't think he plays. And because of that, I have the Magic winning this. It's just the Sixers are just missing a 30 point per game score. They're missing Joel Embiid. I just don't see it happening. So I have the Magic winning.
I'm actually going to go opposite, be a little bit more positive to the Sixers. I think Sixers win, more so not because of, I just think Tyrese Maxey can come out here and have a really, really good game. I think Paul George can come out here and have a really good game in a one-game scenario at home in this as well, because the Orlando Magic did lose to the Celtics tonight. And now they're going to have to go to Philadelphia. I think the Philadelphia crowd with Edgecombe, Maxey, PG, I think they can make some things happen. And I've also just not liked the vibe I've seen around the Orlando Magic. Just, I think the writing's on the wall for the Orlando Magic with a coaching change, a roster change. I have no idea what it has been this season. The defense isn't up to the level it was last year. I just think we're going to be looking at a new coaching system next year for the Orlando Magic, and I just haven't really liked the vibe I've seen from the Orlando Magic this season. They've been super up and down, dealing with a ton of injuries, and I just think Philadelphia in a one-game situation, I like Tyrese Maxey in this game. I truly do. I like Tyrese Maxey in this game at home.
Yeah, I've been burned many times before, so I just don't know if I believe in this team.
Yeah.
And Maxey, it's all on him. If he doesn't get a 30 piece, they lose. He is very good. I mean, he's like what, third or fourth in the league in scoring this year. Like, he continues to impress and develop in ways that I don't think anyone saw coming when he was first drafted. So, but getting 30 is still not an easy thing to do. And I just, unless if he doesn't go out and have a huge game, they lose. And so I'm thinking the Magic know that. So they're going to send Suggs and Anthony Black and whoever else they can at Maxey to try and slow him down. And in the end, I think the Magic pull it out, but I don't hate that. You're absolutely right. Edgecombe has been amazing. Paul George has turned it around ever since he came back from the suspension. So I could very well see the Sixers winning this game, but I think I have the Magic initially.
And then 9-10, I have Charlotte beating Miami. I just think Charlotte's just been better than Miami as of late, and I think Charlotte would just be better if Charlotte beat Miami, in my opinion, just for the league sake, because Miami just loves this plan so goddamn much and never want to pick a direction fully. So I'm going to go Charlotte here in the 9, and then I'm going Charlotte over Orlando, just because I think Charlotte's been the most consistent team in this back half of the season. I think they have a lot of offense on that team and a lot of firepower in these one-game scenarios, to where I think Miami struggles to score at times. I think Orlando also struggles to score at times. I'm trusting the Charlotte Hornets team and what they've shown in this back half, second half of the years after the slow start, to really put some pressure on Orlando and Miami and get that 8th seed. And I think Charlotte comes out of the play-in at the 8th seed this year.
Now, I also think Charlotte comes out as the 8th seed this year because I think that they beat the Sixers. I think that LaMelo and Brandon Miller and Diabite and Khan have really picked it up and put it together the back half of the season. They have been one of the most efficient offenses in basketball. They have looked so good. And I think no, Embiid will likely not be playing in this game. And I just think that the Hornets just pulled together, the season's on the line. They have a lot more to play for. The Sixers have just had a pretty depleted season. I think the Hornets pull it together in a close one, but I think I took the Hornets in this one.
So we pretty much have the same. We can jump into 1-8 out east. I have Detroit and Charlotte.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Detroit in 5. I'm gonna give Charlotte a
Yes.
game. I can just see the style of play that Detroit has, able to slow the game down a ton. And a Charlotte team that likes to play fast, likes to play up tempo. I think that Charlotte does take one, maybe at home, but I do think the pace of play and Jalen Duren being all-star caliber big man now really broke out this year. I think his presence in the series is going to really be a problem for the Charlotte Hornets to deal with, in my opinion. I do have the Detroit Pistons winning in 5 games.
Yeah. And Cade's coming back. He's still kind of returning back to his level of play, dealing with the collapsed lung. I think I think you're exactly right. I think Charlotte steals the game. Maybe game one just comes out and just has just a hot shooting night. On hits 5 threes, LaMelo hits like 8 threes or something, and they get it done. And then the Pistons just go out and win the rest of the way. I think Charlotte has, honestly, even if you lose this series, you are still so happy with how this season went. Khan has been, so I think he's rookie of the year. I know I'm a Cooper Flag guy, but I think Khan has just been like, not more consistent. It's not even the right word, but at the same time, like it does apply. He's just been like this much better, I think, in my opinion, especially considering Flag was the number 1 overall pick, and
I think Khan's been more impactful because the Charlotte Hornets have been better.
That's the word.
I think Khan's role with his team has been just more, yeah, I guess the word is impactful, just more impactful as a player for what they're doing, just because they're winning a little bit more.
And Flag from day one was like, because AD was hurt and Kyrie was hurt, it was like, hey, you're the guy. You're gonna get the most shots. Like it's through you. So you expect a guy like him to go out and put up the numbers he's put up. Mind you, he's done incredible. Cooper Flag has done some amazing things. I mean, only teenager ever to score 50, or it was like a 40 piece and a 50 piece. But I think Khan went out and broke the rookie 3-point record like 3/4 of the way through the year. Like he smashed that record. And his role has just initially it was shooter off the bench, maybe just a 3-and-D type guy, to now like he's becoming more and more almost like a running mate with LaMelo in the backcourt. Like he has really shown that he belongs on an NBA team with a sizable role in the offense. And I think for me that's why he's my rookie of the year. And I think he's a big reason why Charlotte steals a game. But in the end, the Pistons do win the series. They're just the better team. Cade's awesome. Duren's been great. They have depth. They're the 1 seed for a reason.
Yeah. So we both have Detroit advancing. And then now, in my opinion, like how the Sixers are kind of cursed as a team a little bit, I think the Cavs, when it comes to getting certain matchups in the playoffs, are in a realm of like, it seems like they always draw just the toughest matchup possible
They do have some
in a series.
Playoff matchup luck.
Like Orlando was the hot team that played slow down style. They had a bunch of really good defenders on that team when they took the Cavs 7. Donovan Mitchell's heroics was able to propel them in that series. But Cleveland and Atlanta is a tough series. Just because
I thought it was the Raptors.
No, Atlanta's the 4. Or Atlanta's the 5.
I thought the
Atlanta's the 5. No. Okay. Wait, am I tripping? Well, the Raptors are the 5. I was tripping.
The Raptors
Where
are the 5.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Atlanta's at 6.
So I can kind of use that logic for the Knicks. But we can get into the 4-5, which is Cleveland and Toronto. My fault. Yeah. I thought it was Atlanta. That's me.
Pretty tough matchup because the Raptors, they have all those wings. I mean, that is a tough defensive team to play against. They're well coached. Scotty Barnes is a very solid player, leading a bunch of. They don't have like a superstar, but they have a bunch of guys who can go out and get you 15, 20 easily. RJ Barrett is a very solid player. Emmanuel Quickley too. That's a tough team to face in round 1. Winning in 6, tight 6, but it's not an easy series. I think Cleveland just pulls it out. I think Donovan Mitchell is the best player on the court for both teams. I think James Harden has really shown like that he wants to be there, and that's for him is the most important part of the James Harden experience. And I think him and Donovan Mitchell have a really good synergy. I think they pull it out, but the Raptors are a very tough team to face in round one.
I personally like this matchup a lot better for Cleveland than Atlanta. I think Atlanta's pace of play and I think the way that their offense runs, I think can give Cleveland a little bit more trouble than Toronto, who is a tough half court watch. I'm going to go with Cleveland pretty convincingly here. I just think the size of Mobley and Allen in that front court, pairing that up with James Harden in the pick and roll, I think it's just a little too much for Toronto to really go against, with Jakob Poeltl being your starting center at this point in time. I just think Jarrett Allen's just a really good tough matchup for him, and I just think Cleveland, with also the depth that they do have against the Toronto team that isn't really the most deep team in the world, with guys like Dennis Schroeder, Keon Ellis, I think are two of the most underrated additions at the deadline for that bench. So looking at that, I think Cleveland gets out of the series pretty handedly. I think Cleveland wins the series in 5 games.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think Cleveland wins it too. I think the Raptors they have that really tough half court defense, and so I think it's going to be less scoring. But yeah, Cavs win it, and then so Knicks
and Hawks. This is gonna be interesting because I do kind of use that same logic for how the Hawks play. The Hawks can make it really tough and force the Knicks to play a little bit smaller than they probably want to with Jalen Johnson. You can run him some small ball 5 and some point center lineups and just have their guys running. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's been great all year. We talked about him a lot in the Western Conference video when we talked about the Wolves. CJ McCollum's been a really, really good addition. With his fit, just fits better on this team compared to Trae Young, who's more ball dominant. You can put CJ off ball, on ball. He's just a vet in this league who can go out and get you 15 to 20 every given night. So I like that little dynamic. And Dyson Daniels doesn't really have it fully there offensively in his game. So that's where you insert a guy like CJ McCollum, who's a vet who can play off of Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jalen Johnson. I think he's a really good piece for this team. But this is also a young team with a young number 1 option in Jalen Johnson going up against his New York Knicks team with Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson. They just went to the conference finals last year with this core. I'm going to go and take the Knicks in 6 games. I just think having a closer of Jalen Brunson's caliber in the playoffs is huge. And I just think somebody like Karl-Anthony Towns could favor a matchup in a series like this. And I just think when you're looking at a young number 1 option in Jalen Johnson, you have an OG Anunoby, a Josh Hart, and a Mikal Bridges that can all take turns guarding somebody like Jalen Johnson. And I just think this might be a little too premature for me to take Atlanta to move past this series against New York team who's been here before.
Yeah, I also have the Knicks in 6. I think Atlanta, like you said, they love that run and gun, and I think they can put up points pretty easily. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been amazing. Jalen Johnson, especially when he's healthy, has been a very, very talented player. I think Kuminga's been good. I think CJ McCollum, I think I just looked it up. I mean, 18.7 points a game on pretty good splits. I mean, he has been very good for them. They have some building blocks. Like they're feeling good about where they're at, especially the fact that, their number 1 overall pick isn't even getting minutes anymore. So like, despite that happening, like they're in a good spot for the future. I just can't see them winning a playoff series against a team like the Knicks yet. The Knicks are very good. Jalen Brunson, like you said, best player on the court. That's a closer. Josh Hart is, especially in the playoffs, he turns it up. I saw that Magnet Ball series against the Sixers a couple years ago. OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, all guys built to stop Jalen Johnson, and then Cat is kind of a bad matchup for a team like the Hawks. Yeah, Knicks in 6.
Then I have Sixers and Celtics at the 2-7. Tough draw for the Sixers. Obviously, with Joel Embiid and all the stuff he's going through. Give me Boston. Give me Boston in 5. Maybe you get a Paul George game at home where he hopes.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to say a whole lot on this one. The Celtics just story. I mean, Embiid said it best. It's not a rivalry when they always kick our ass. The Celtics just have the Sixers number. Celtics are a very, very talented team, especially with getting Tatum back. And the Sixers just aren't. They dealt with too much. They have some studs. They've got some good pieces, but that bench and the depth is atrocious. And if Maxi's not giving you 35, you're not doing anything, especially with no Embiid. I just looked it up. He got discharged from the hospital only 2 days ago. It's usually about a 2-week two. It said like 2 to 4. So my 2 to 3. He's probably not going to be there. He might if they're somehow it's a 2-2 series. He might be able to come back for game 5, but I'm not. I'm not buying that he'll be back. So yeah. I had Magic Celtics, and in that I still think it's not much different than it would be if it were the Sixers. I think, like you said, there's just been something going on with the Magic this year. Was I don't know if it was the Desmond Bain trade or what, but something just feels kind of off. Maybe injuries. I don't know what it is. The Celtics are, like I said, supremely talented. Missoula's my pick for Coach of the Year. That's a deep Celtic squad against a Magic team that just isn't talented enough, I think. So I put season 5, but if that I could see that very well being a sweep.
Getting into the second round, Detroit and Cleveland 1-4 matchup.
This is a good series.
I'm going Cleveland.
I am too.
I'm going Cleveland in 6. I think Cleveland can close it out at home. I just think in a series where you're playing a team that has upgraded their defense at the deadline with guys like Dennis Schroeder, who can be a pest, Keon Ellis, who can be a pest. Jalen Tyson's been really, really good this year. You have Evan Mobley and Jared Allen anchoring down the defense who can match up with somebody of a Jalen Duren's caliber. I just think this team currently constructed this season for Detroit is a year away. Yes, I know they were the 1 seed, got off to a really hot start. But I just think when I look at this Detroit Pistons team, I think they're just truly 1 season away and 1 addition away, because I think the offense might be. I know they've had some guys step up. Doug Robinson's been good this year. Caris LeVert's had his moments. Dennis Jenkins has had his moments. But I just think this team is a little too Cade Cunningham reliant, especially in a series like this. Because I know you can look at the past couple of weeks when they haven't had Cade because of the lung stuff. Oh, they've been good. They've had some really, really good wins. I'm just looking at playoff atmosphere against a Cleveland Cavaliers team that's been trying to knock on the door to get to the conference finals. I just don't see them losing to a Detroit Pistons team when I just think the Detroit Pistons are just 1 year away, 1 addition away. And it's tough to say because they were the 1 seed this year, but I just like the versatility, the number of different ways the Cavs can score. Now you're looking at Kenny Atkinson in his second year as a head coach in the playoffs. I just think this team's going to be more fine-tuned and finally break through and get to the conference finals. And I think the James Harden addition, you can say what you want about James Harden. I'm so confident in James Harden just being a better playoff performer and more consistent come playoff time than Darius Garland was for the Cavs. And that's where I'm leaning my hat towards. And I think the additions of Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder are really going to show in a series like this. And I just think the Cavs get it done in 6 games.
Yeah, I put Cavs in 7 just because I have witnessed firsthand that sometimes those Harden playoff performances can be a bit worrisome. So to your point though, it's just a year away for the Pistons. I think they need a bit more offensive help on the perimeter. Like you said, they have a bunch of shooters, they have a bunch of role guys, but they don't really. If Tobias Harris is your go get me a bucket guy, then that's just not going to get it done. I do think though that the Cavs can have a tendency to kind of shoot themselves in the foot a little bit and maybe let the Pistons hang around a little bit too long in a close game. And then the Pistons, they are a good team. I think the games that the Cavs win are blowouts, and the games that the Pistons win are close. And then Cavs win in 7.
I'm also like looking at the Cavs as I just think they're a deeper team than this Pistons team as well. You're talking about role guys like Max Strus, who came off injury this season, Dean Wade, who's a very good, versatile defender. I just don't see enough offensive firepower from the Detroit Pistons against a Cavs team that has James Harden at the helm, where Mobley can get. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna go Cavs in 5, just because I think this is just a tough draw for the Pistons. I'm looking at the size. I'm looking at the different ways the Cavs can score on offense. I'm looking at the defense that they can throw out there on Cade Cunningham. They can really anchor down the paint. Jalen Duren isn't the greatest floor spacing big man, so you can really roam with Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. I was thinking they would really be able to focus in on Cade Cunningham, and I think this Cavs team is due to get to the conference finals.
Yeah, now
and I think you can say this has been the best Cavs team they've had in the Donovan Mitchell era.
I would say that absolutely. And honestly, now that we're like talking about it and I'm really thinking about it, I think I'm gonna go back. I think I'm gonna go down to Cavs in 6. I think I'm still gonna stick it. I'm gonna give Pistons a couple games. Maybe they win one of two at home. But yeah, I now that we're talking about it and I'm thinking about it more, like the Pistons just kind of struggle offensively, and this is a different James Harden. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
he's not gonna have some of those. He's gonna have some. He's gonna be consistent in these playoffs because he doesn't have to be as much of the guy. And the Cavs are a very deep team. Sam Merrill has been very good. Strus is coming back from injury. They got the bigs. So yeah, I think I'm sticking with the Cavs, but I think I'm actually gonna be kind of like you, and I'm gonna switch it to Cavs in 6. And now that we just talk about it more, 7 I think was a bit much.
I kind of agree that I just think this is a tough draw for Detroit. I like Detroit's
Yeah,
matchup a little bit better against the other two teams.
absolutely.
And then we can go into 2-3 Celtics, Knicks. Rematch from last year in the second round. Tough because you had the Jason Tatum injury that messed things around. But I think the Knicks are a team that I've seen kind of play with their food a little bit. I think this Knicks team is kind of like the Minnesota Timberwolves on the Western Conference side of things, where it's like they lose a lot of games where they shouldn't in terms of like in the regular season, where you look at how talented this Knicks team is, you're just like scratching your head of like how they lost to this team, for example. Like fuck, I don't even know if they did say it's a crazy loss where they lost to Portland at home by 10 or something
Yeah,
crazy. Like they just have a bunch of questionable head scratching losses this year,
dude,
and that's kind
exactly.
of just been
They
the
dropped a
theme with the
few against the
Knicks.
Hawks that they probably should have won.
But I'm going with the Knicks in this series. I'm going with the Knicks to go to the conference finals again and beat the Celtics, just because I think this Celtics team doesn't have a Kristaps Porzingis. I know he hasn't really been the healthiest guy with the Celtics when he was. Doesn't have a Drew Holiday. Like I just don't think this team is built to make another deep playoff push like that. You have Tatum, like I said, he's been playing great. He's coming off an Achilles. Playoff basketball is different than regular season basketball. Like he still looks a little stiff out there at times, gingery at times in his movements. So obviously he's coming off an Achilles. But I'm more worried about this Boston team getting back to full strength next year. I just think the Knicks are going to win this. I got it going at least 6 games. And I think the New York Knicks get it done and beat the Celtics again. And I think this is going to be an interesting series for somebody like Karl-Anthony Towns, because the one thing that is different from last year, I don't think the front court rotation is as strong as it was for the Boston Celtics last year. Al Horford is an older player, but having somebody as sound as Al Horford on the defensive side of the ball and his ability to space, and not having him this year, and now you're really reliant on Nikola Vucevic, Neemias Queta, who's getting a bigger role, bigger spotlight this year. Like I don't think they have the front court to match in New York with a Mitchell Robinson, Karl-Anthony Towns, and now you have OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges that you can throw Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum's way still. Like I think this New York Knicks team is a little bit deeper than it was last year as well. Like I just think it's going to get a little taxing for this Boston Celtics team, and I think New York can take advantage of that and get back to the Eastern Conference Finals.
No, yeah, I agree that the Knicks are a tough team, but I don't agree with the final result. I have the Celtics winning in 7. I think you're exactly right. The Knicks are a very good matchup. Cat is an elite floor spacing center. They have an abundance of defensive minded wings. Josh Hart is one of the best defensive guards in the league. Jalen Brunson is an elite closer. But at the same time, on the Celtics side, I mean, Peyton Pritchard has been an incredible point guard for the Celtics this year. He's shown an elite command of this offense. Derek White, I mean, has really picked it up and done everything that they've asked for. I mean, he's arguably the best glue guy in the league, putting up very good numbers and shooting elite. Jaylen Brown, I think the only reason he's not getting more MVP love is because the other guys around him have picked it up as well. Queta, Garza, Vucevic are solid centers. Queta especially has been very good for them this year. And then Tatum, I mean, he's looked a little stiff, but he's still putting up 21 and 10 a night. And being a number 2 option with letting Jaylen Brown kind of run the show. What's his name? Hauser's been very good for them as a shooter. I mean, Celtics are, I think, a very well-rounded team. I don't think they have the star power that the Knicks have, but I think they are a bit deeper, because outside of the Knicks, you got Mitch Robinson, you got Miles McBride. I think the Celtics have a bit more. Hugo Gonzalez Jordan Walsh have been very solid wings for them too. I think the Celtics pulled out in 7, a tight dogfight 7 though. The Knicks winning the series would not surprise me at all. The Knicks are a very, very good team. They do. I think both of these teams, like they match up well against each other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's like one team matches up well against the other. It's not like a bad matchup for either side. And I really don't hate the Knicks winning this series. So I could see it going either way, which is why I do have the Celtics in 7, but it's going to be a tight series for sure.
I'm also going to say I think Mikal Bridges needs to have a really, really good series for them to get this done.
Yes.
But I think a big thing that I'm looking at is the matchup with Jalen Brunson in this series, because I'm looking at last year's series and having not only Derek White, but also Jrue Holiday, who's a really, really good defender as well, to switch and take turns on somebody like Jalen Brunson. So I think now it's just the Derek White assignment. I think Jalen Brunson likes the Peyton Pritchard matchup. I only see it just. I think I'd probably rather have Peyton Pritchard guarding me than Jrue Holiday, who's a all-world defender still.
I think they'll stick Derek White on Brunson to start, just because he moves a bit better and he's just a very solid defender.
But I'm just interested to see how that matchup changes from last year, and like where I think Jalen Brunson might have an easier series and an easier time not dealing with both Jrue Holiday and Derek White, and just dealing with Derek White on that side of the ball.
Yeah. And like you said, because of that, they'll need some of those other guys to pick it up, because Brunson, he might score off more, but he's also, you're going to have to look for points elsewhere. I think you're exactly right. It could go either way. That's going to be a fun series. It's a really
good series. It's a really close series as well.
Yeah. So then
we can get into Eastern Conference Finals.
Yep.
I have Cavs Knicks.
Yep.
And you have Cavs Celtics.
Yes.
I can go Cavs Knicks first. I think this is two teams that could say kind of need it. Cavs need it. Knicks need it. Two hungry teams that no Pacers this year. No Pacers this year. Boston's kind of been hurt all year. They're just now getting back into form. We kind of have a weaker 1 seed in the Detroit Pistons to what it's been in the past couple of years. And going into the year, everybody thought, well, this is Cavs Knicks ECF for sure, right? No Pacers, no Boston. Nobody thought Detroit was going to be this good. Atlanta was shaky. They had promise. No, it was Cavs Knicks from the jump, from the season start. And then the Cavs go get James Harden. They get better. Knicks kind of keep it the same. But I will say it's interesting. It's tough because I do like the Cavs in this matchup. I think the Cavs match up really well with this Knicks team and the size and the defenders that they have to throw out Jalen Brunson's way. I think this would be this is why we got Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis on our team at the deadline kind of series. And I think the Cavs are going to break through. I truly do. I think the front court depth that the Cavs have with Mobley and Jared Allen can make it tough on Cat at times, who can be inconsistent in the playoffs. I just think this is a tough go. It would be a really good series, but I think Donovan Mitchell can match Jalen Brunson in terms of being a closer, being a go-to guy late. And I think the element of having somebody like James Harden that can take the ball out of Donovan Mitchell's hands, run the offense, and be able to play off of guys like Mobley and Allen very well. And I think the Cavs break through and get to the finals. And I think the Knicks it's a tough series because I think the Cavs, with their depth and their defense and the guys that they can throw out there, I think would give them problems. I'm going to go the Cavs to get to the finals in 6 games. And that's kind of where I'm at. I think the Cavs just match up really well with this Knicks team. And with everything they have going, I think the James Harden element is going to be huge in a series like this. But I also think their deadline additions and Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder, the Cavs are a deep team. The Cavs can legit play 10 deep. And I think that could give the New York Knicks some problems. And I think having a hungry team like the Cavs can make some things. And you also have somebody that can match a Jalen Brunson in the playoffs. And I think Donovan Mitchell is due, and I think they break through and get to the finals this year.
Yeah, I agree with you actually across the board. I think the Cavs, they have that star power to go band for band with the Knicks. I think they match up well. I think Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell trading buckets, that's gonna be cinema. I think that the Knicks bigs just can't keep up with the Cavs bigs. So if I had the Knicks, I would have also taken the Cavs, but I have the Celtics. And I'm still going Cavs. I think Cavs pulled out in 7. I think at this point, the Celtics would have just gotten off that 7-game series with the Knicks versus the Cavs had a relatively easy 6, maybe even 5-game series against the Pistons just because they match up so well against Detroit. I think James Harden knows, like, hey, this is Donovan Mitchell's time. I think the Celtics losing Drew Holiday and having to play Peyton Pritchard more and having him guard one of D. Mitch or James Harden is going to be a real problem that the Cavs are going to look to exploit. I think that the Celtics aren't going to be able to keep up with the Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, constant switching door, revolving door of bigs because they like to get him in foul trouble. And Luka Garza, love Luka Garza, go Hawks, but he should not be playing legitimate playoff minutes. It's, this is not really him. And Vucevic, as good as, as solid as he's been, I don't think you can comfortably rely on him as a tertiary scoring option. I think the Cavs just have the depth to stay with Boston offensively too. Like you said, Keon Ellis, Schroeder have been incredible pickups. Jordan Tyson, is it Jordan Tyson? That's his brother,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Jordan Tyson and
Yeah, he's been phenomenal for the Cavs. I think this is their year that they're like you said.
Jordan Tyson's the brother, Jalen Tyson.
Jalen Tyson.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew. Yeah. Jordan Tyson's a receiver, right?
Yeah, that's his brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jalen Tyson has been very good too. I think the Cavs, they have a very well constructed roster, and I think the Celtics losing so many guys, I think this is where it kind of finally comes to bite them. And I have the Cavs. It's still going to be a tough series though, just because the Celtics are so well coached, and healthy Jason Tatum is probably the best player on the court. And I think at this point, 2 playoff series in, he's back to, I don't want to say 100%, but we're seeing a very solid 85% Jason Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the Cavs pull it out though.
Yeah, so we both have the Cavs making it out of the Eastern Conference.
Yes.
I think the road is definitely there for Cleveland. Getting the 4 seed and not having to play either New York or Boston in that second round.
That's absolutely huge.
So looking at, you had OKC coming out of the Western Conference. I had Minnesota coming out of the Western Conference. We're both having the Cavs. I'm tossed because I go back and forth in my head on Minnesota and Cleveland. Give me your OKC and Cleveland breakdown.
This was tough. This was honestly really tough. And this, I don't know, this might be crazy, but I think at this point, OKC going back to back, it's like you said, it's so hard to do. And you're there, but you're just tired. Going against the Spurs in a nasty 7, that's a tough series to win. And you're relying on your other guys so much more than like the Cavs are. I think the Cavs got it. I think the Cavs pull it out. I'm thinking 7. I could see it in 6. I just think OKC is very good, but I do think the Cavs pull it out. I just think that Donovan Mitchell is, especially if he's playing well enough to lead the Cavs to the finals, you have to imagine he is on a very good run. And I think peak powers Donovan Mitchell can go shot for shot with SGA. I think he's that good of a scorer. Is he as good of a player all around? No, SGA is the MVP for a reason. But I think as a pure scorer, Donovan Mitchell is up there with the other elite names. And I think that the Mobley Allen combo really give Chet and Hartenstein some problems. And even then, they're going to tire them out so that Chet and iHeart on the other end they're not going to be as effective offensively because they're going to be exerting so much to stop the Cavs bigs. And we've been saying this, it's said in the last part, it really comes down to J-Dub, and he's only played like 30 games this season. I don't think I think only playing 30 games and then boom, we're here in the playoffs and it's just bang, bang, bang. Like I think this is where it all catches up to him, and I think the Cavs have a lot of good defensive wings that they can throw at J-Dub and SGA. And I think the Cavs get it done. So the
Wow.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
Gosh, like it's tough because I love series like this. Like, not saying it happens a ton in the finals, but two teams that haven't won it, like we got
Yeah.
last year, I think it just builds the moment. Somebody's going to get back to the drawing board next year, and then we're going to see a star be born like we saw SGA. And you could even say in the same breath, Tyrese Halliburton, his
Yeah.
whole playoff run was super elevated and everything. So I'll just walk you through what's going on in my head when I'm thinking
Fair.
Wolves, Cavs for mine. Because I'm looking at this series as looking at the Cavs, you're thinking at this point Anthony Edwards and Donovan Mitchell are on an absolute run of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Then you're looking at what are the number twos doing? I think James Harden and Mobley, I really like that combination. I think the Wolves match up really well with that because Jared Allen not being a big floor spacing five. You're able to kind of live and die with Rudy Gobert in the lineup, and that's a avenue the Cavs can still exploit. Is going at Rudy Gobert with James Harden, Donovan Mitchell. And then I go where I'm like, okay, what about somebody like the Naz Reid impact? What if the Minnesota Timberwolves go 5 out and they put Naz Reid at the 5 and go Randall at the 4? How do they match up? How do the Cavs match up? And I'm like, they got somebody like Dean Wade, who's 6'9", who can defend, who can space, who can match up in that kind of style. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, what about the Anthony Edwards aspect? I think we talked a lot about Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis being able to match up with a guy like Jalen Brunson. I think it's a lot taller of a task with Anthony Edwards, who's more explosive, more athletic, gets downhill, can shoot, can do everything. We know who Anthony Edwards is. So I'm looking at the matchups. I'm breaking it down in my head. I'm just like, what team has the slight advantage here? And then I'm looking at like the Cavs have Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis, who we talked about a ton. But I'm also last episode talked about Ayo Dosunmu and Dante DiVincenzo a ton.
Yeah,
like they can match up in with those depth at that backcourt positions. Where I'm like, okay, here we go. Like then it's gonna come down to the little things like those role players. I trust somebody like Jaden McDaniels a little bit more than I trust anybody on the Cavs at that wing position as well. Has a defender, has a scorer at this point in his career as well. I'm going back and forth in my head. Then I'm looking at the story. I'm like, James Harden's first ring. Mitchell gets it done and solidifies himself as one of the guys in the league because he already is. It's just like getting that hardware is different, making that playoff run. Then I'm looking at Anthony Edwards, first finals for him, putting himself in those Jokic, Witt, Vic, SGA conversations with some hardware. It's just, I'm interested to see the matchup in the front court of what kind of Julius Randle we would get at this point against a defensive caliber of player of Evan Mobley. That matchup intrigues me. Just because you went the Cavs, just because you went the Cavs, I'm going to go with Minnesota because I think this could go either way if this does end up happening. You pick the Cavs, I'll pick Minnesota, but I could see this going either way if this were to happen. You have the Cavs over OKC. I have the Minnesota Timberwolves over the Cavs. I think Anthony Edwards could be a tough task to deal with from the Cleveland Cavaliers standpoint in terms of defense. So I'm going to lean with Anthony Edwards getting it done in the finals. I'm going to go Minnesota in 7. I think we get another 7-game series in the finals. And I think the Wolves get it done. And I think the Cavs were right there at the doorstep, but made a big time jump this year.
Honestly, that's a tough one to pick. I don't hate going either way because both of those teams, I mean, they are so similar. I mean, they have the bigs, they've got the elite scoring guard, they've got the wings, defensive wings. I mean, if that series comes to fruition, that is going to be absolute cinema. I mean, that's going to be a dogfight.
The biggest swing in a series like that would be James Harden. James Harden could really swing me either way.
Right. If we get James Harden going out and just emptying the clip and getting 25 and 12, and feeding the bigs and getting D-Mitch shots, like the Cavs could win it. But in the same vein, you got DiVincenzo and Ayu who are elite defenders, and Anthony Edwards is one of those guys like who could go shot for shot with anyone in the league, especially in a moment like that where he loves that. That's where he thrives. And Gobert is so good defensively. And Julius Randle, there's the jokes, but he is a very solid NBA playoff scorer. So that
he was really good last year in the playoffs.
He really was.
Really solid last year in the playoffs.
Yes.
It kind of just like they ran into the juggernaut that was OKC last year. and it was just tough. The way they got beat by OKC and kind of handled, everybody was getting handled by like that by OKC outside of Denver and the Pacers legit all season long.
Yeah, it honestly like that. I could either way I don't hate it either way. I kind of hope that the Timberwolves Cavs happens because that would be such a fun series.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of in between. I'm gonna go Minnesota to wrap up the episode, and that would be my NBA champion this season. But I can see a world where either way.
Would Ant be your Finals MVP?
Yeah,
I would think and then for me it would be D Mitch.
Yeah, I don't know. It's playoff basketball, man.
Yeah, I can't wait. So honestly, if Philly can just lose this play-in tournament and secure a pick, I'm fine. That way I can just watch it.
Warriors can do the same. Can do the same. No, trust me. I said it a lot to wrap up the episode.
Yeah.
I said it a lot. I'm gonna make a separate TikTok about it. There's something about this Suns Spurs matchup where I'm gonna dive into. If the Suns win Tuesday, there's something about this Suns Spurs matchup where I'm just like, I don't know, man. I can see a game one where Phoenix goes out there and punches San Antonio in the mouth, and we're like, oh shit. Like, I don't know. I don't think they would. I don't know if I'd pick the Phoenix Suns to win a series, but I think that's going to be like my most like anticipated watch because I'm just like, man, there's just something about the way this Phoenix Suns team plays and the way they defend where I'm just like, young Spurs team, it's tough, but the Spurs have Wemby, and I'm just like, it's tough. It's tough. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup.
That is. I don't know about 7. I could see 6. I think it happens in 5. I think you're right. The Phoenix just comes out. They shoot well. Devin Booker gets hot. I think they get him 1. Like you said, punch San Antonio in the mouth. But then I think San Antonio's like, all right, so it's like that, and then they kind of lock in. But I guess we'll find out. I think the round 1 will start the 18th. So next
Saturday. So play-in games are Tuesday. To wrap up the episode, what first round series are you most looking forward to? Because I think the easy one is obviously now Denver, Minnesota. It seems like it's happening in the first round.
Mm-hmm. I would say either that. So that one is my Western most looking forward to. But in the East, it would probably be Knicks Hawks, just because the Knicks, I mean, they're good. They're very good. But the Hawks have been playing well. The rest, I mean, I don't think any of the other series are going to be all that in the East. I think Pistons take care of business pretty easily. Celtics, especially if they play the Sixers, definitely take care of business pretty easily. I think the Cavs might have a little trouble to start against the Raptors, but they'll figure it out. So I think Knicks Hawks is probably what I'm looking forward to most in the East.
I think if it were to happen, some things have to go right out of the plan, obviously. But I'm intrigued. I'm obviously intrigued about Denver, Minnesota. I'm intrigued about Sun Spurs. I'm gonna dive more into that on TikTok. But like looking at Charlotte, Detroit, that could be like a really fun series because I don't view Detroit as this like super overly dominant team like OKC was last year, or it was Boston the year they won the chip. So like I'm looking at like there's room for like the Hornets to like really like make that not a crazy interesting series, but like make those games way more interesting than people might think just with the Hornets style of play. And I'm also looking at a lot of people are down, and I get it. The Van Fleet and the Steven Adams injuries have been super tough blows for the Rockets this year, pushing them more into we got to regroup, retool, get ready for next year kind of team. That's kind of the vibe with the All-Star and the Durant stuff. Like, it's just me. I truly think that the Rockets will get out of a series with the Lakers. No Luka, no Reeves. I think they can make quick work of this Lakers team with no rim protection. They have nobody to match up with athletically with the athleticism of guys like Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith. You have Kevin Durant. Like, I just think that's a tough matchup for the Lakers. It's going to be interesting to see Bron, Durant hoops in the playoffs. It's going to be very fun to see. But I think Houston takes care of that series. It's just tough because I think with Steven Adams at the 5 and the way they ran that offense, like not around Steven Adams, but the way they were able to play big with Şengün at the 4, Steven Adams at the 5,
Yeah,
like
that
mixing
was
that all in.
very
I thought it was super interesting how they could match up with OKC, but I just think without Steven Adams, no Van Fleet, I think it's a tough ask to say this Rockets team can go on a deep playoff run, but I do think the Rockets are getting out of the first round.
Yeah, I think so too, especially with no Luca, no Reeves. I think LeBron, I mean, he's the GOAT, but he's also a 40-plus-year-old man again with, no one helping him against a very, very talented Rockets team. So
Yeah.
I just don't see it, which sucks because a healthy Lakers makes that series a lot more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point about the Hornets, they're just fun to watch, man. They're just
Yeah.
fun. Like they're
Yeah.
they're just having a good time. LaMelo is. It feels like he's just out there, he's just hooping. Like he's just doing whatever, man. Like they're a fun team to watch.
Yeah. And that all starts on Tuesday. But we can wrap up the episode there. You'll see the Western Conference part 1 to this part 2 out on the channel. Make sure you guys tap in. Playoff basketball is right around the corner. I'm going to be a lot more active on TikTok. It's just easier to make TikToks in the flow of the playoffs. The games happening every day. Like, be easier to get much more into the flow with that as well. But thank you guys for tuning into the Barrel Talk podcast. Hope to see you tune in to future episodes.